Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon for some of you, and even good evening. We even have somebody today from Taiwan that are joining. So thank you. Welcome to April Education Chat. The topic for today is map unstructured data with LocateXT. Now, we bring this topic because more and more unstructured data become available, especially from the social media. So we invited the product manager of the LocateXT, Colby Knapp, and Colby will present this. So everybody in the mute mode, but feel free to participate on the chat and also write your question on the chat or speak up. And we're gonna be paused here and there to have some discussion. Okay. Again, this session is recorded and we're gonna share the recording after the chat. Okay. With that, I'm gonna stop sharing and let Colby take over.
Great, thank you, Rena. Well, thank you for the introduction, Rena. My name is Colby Neeb. I am most recently been brought on to Esri last June as the LocateXT product manager. In a former life, I was very familiar with LocateXT. We integrated it with a number of tools that we were using in the military, DoD, intelligence community. And so when the opportunity came up as Esri acquired LocateXT, I believe in 2018, LocateXT was something I was familiar with. I liked that it was a sweet little product that had a nice, happy, healthy customer base. And I thought it was too good of an opportunity to turn down because I do feel like the roadmap for LocateXT and Pro and Enterprise is going to be a fruitful one with some of the other products we're working on. So with that, I'll get into a little bit about unstructured data. You can stop me at any time, but what is unstructured data? So, it comes in a variety of formats and they're all very well known. And as you can see from this list here in this slide, that most of them are text-based. It's information that either does not have a predefined data model or does not, it's not organized in a predefined manner. The bulk of this anymore that we're seeing flooding our business intelligence repositories is social media. And so big companies want to perform analytics on social media, and the data that's coming from social media is, it's unstructured information. It's typically text heavy. It may contain data such as dates and numbers and facts. But then we also have, historical repositories of countless PowerPoints, PDFs, you have SharePoint repositories full of documents. So, unstructured data can be easily stored in a traditional column and row database. It doesn't fit this, Microsoft Excel table format. So it's more useful, and it's not as useful, and it's difficult to analyze, and it's not easily accessible, which is why it wasn't useful for organizations until recent years. But with the birth of graph database type solutions and algorithms and capabilities such as regex or natural language processing, we're able to take a deep dive into unstructured data, perform analytics with these powerful tools, some of them powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning. And these tools have created an ability for us to unlock the insights inside unstructured data. So here's just a little bit, again, examples, streams of data coming off the internet, filling our repositories, but how do we unlock the insight in these, organize this information so that's actionable? So a great example here is we're unlocking the location information. Brexit is is an entity, Syria location. I tend to put this in almost all of my presentations just because it's such a powerful quote, right? Like this really gets to the bottom of how much information we're pulling from the internet, from repositories, and the fact that we're just buried in it. And without an advancement in capability, there is no way to analyze this, and this information is not actionable. We create a massive amount of information. Unstructured data is the abundant type of this information. Many of these industries now face this ongoing challenge of having large amounts of location-based information that is not in a traditional spatial format. Instead, it's trapped in these unstructured data formats and text-based formats where the data cannot be captured, visualized, or even analyzed. So this data can be found in documents, PowerPoints, tweets, text messages, emails, Facebook posts, any number of Office, Microsoft Office type documents. All this is being created without the real ability to analyze the information within it, and it's kind of just sitting in flat files, not being used. So here's kind of a model for, how do we peel the onion in determining what's inside this information? So this is a nice little flow chart that explains, okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for coordinates. I'm looking for locations that I have identified and created maybe a custom gazetteer. I've got user-defined keywords. And as an Esri GIS enterprise user, I have the ability to pick a tool that perhaps helps me unlock that information. So today we're going over Arcgis Pro with LocateXT. This will allow you to unlock that information, and I have a video coming up shortly. Pull the data that's beneficial to you. Like I said, you've had the opportunity to define custom keywords, custom locations, and with little to no programming experience, you can pull this information and unlock that insight from your data repositories. So ArcGIS LocateXT is one of many of our tools, like you saw on the slide before, allowing us to do that. It's the most elementary that we have in the toolbox today. Here's a quick graphic on LocateXT, and it's, this is like the slick sheet for LocateXT. So you'll see here, these graphics depict what LocateXT is looking for inside the text information. So it's finding coordinates, it's finding grids, it's finding place names or shortened place names that we've added. You can use a custom location list to match these against other patterns such as place names, codes, other terms. And one thing to remember with LocateXT is it uses what is called regex or regular expressions. The more up-to-date or more, I'd say, progressive technology you'll hear about today is NLP. LocateXT does not use NLP today. It is something on our roadmap that we are integrating with in the future with some exciting new products that Esri will be rolling out in the next year or two. Now with this, I'm going to quickly switch screens. And my partner, Ariel Butler, has a wonderful demonstration on the use of LocateXT, and it pertains to collision reports in California.
One of the ways that LocateXT works to extract locations is, first and foremost, you can access it through our Add Data button in Arcgis Pro, which is built into the very core functionality of Pro. You can see the option very much at the bottom of the list, but it is there. And it allows for users to drag and drop documents or copy text into a window. So you can take a file folder, you can take multiple different types of text documents and drop them into the extract locations pane. And you can use this tool to really kind of get a sense of what kind of text might be in a document. If you're unsure what a document's text might look like once it's translated through, you can go into the text tab, drop a document, and it will actually show you what LocateXT is going to read and how it's going to read the text. So for example, we have the extract locations right here with multiple different file folder, multiple different files. They could be in different folders. We don't know at the moment, but you can see that we have PowerPoints, docx, we have PDFs, we have text, and LocateXT can scan through any and all of those. We can also see that if you go to the text section, if you wanted to extract locations from just text and have them easily plotted, this is one of the ways you could do it. You could copy paste, right click, and make sure everything gets in that text field, click extract, and you should be getting a really nice feature class out of all that information. You can create a new feature class with the text, or you can append it to an existing one. So for example, let's say that you wanted to extract locations for particular sites of interest, and you already have a feature class listing those sites of interest. You don't necessarily have to create another one and another one and another one. You can simply append whatever extracted data you're going to get from these new documents, extract it to your existing feature class. This also really helps if you want to have a custom schema, if there's certain fields that you feel are not relevant or that you are not particularly interested in keeping, but are automatically produced by the extract locations process by LocateXT. You can indicate in your append that you don't want to match for those you don't want to include that particular field. It is included in Arcgis Pro for Intelligence. It's in a different section of Pro, but it is there. Additionally, I believe that you can still access it via the Add Data button. So it's kind of in two places. So there are two geoprocessing tools, right? What we were looking at before is the extract locations pane, which is a kind of a dedicated interface. But if we wanted to look at just the tools themselves, maybe we want to use them in a model, those can be found under the conversion tools. And underneath that, it's going to be to a geodatabase. So the two tools are the extract locations from document. This is a little bit more restrictive. It's going to ask you to input one particular file, and the interface is a little less pleasant to look at, but is definitely really important if you're trying to do models or you want to use the process as a published tool to your portal or something along those lines. So it's really important that we have these geoprocessing tools in there. And there's also extract locations from text. So in this particular instance, you can put a file path in. So if you wanted to put a file folder in there, you absolutely could. Custom attributes is another thing that LocateXT does very well. While LocateXT extracts locations based on predefined patterns, so it's looking for what are common coordinate patterns. This is going to custom attributes are set by the user. If there is, for example, you have a form that is an incident report and you want after each individual, let's say you always want each individual crime, you know that the crime is going to be after a particular word in the document. You can set a custom attribute for that. You can say, I want my attribute to be crime, and I want my keyword to be type of crime, for example. And this will allow LocateXT to go in and look for that word, and then you can tell it, record everything after that word up until X. Now, X could be the number of characters. It could be a line break. It could be a stop string. Maybe you know that after type of crime and the crime, that after that is a date. You can say stop until you hit the word date. You can add multiple keywords if you want to be sure that you catch everything that might be in the document. You can also limit the search to only where a location is found. So you see a coordinate, you don't want to find the word California, you don't want to find the state in everywhere it's listed in the document. You only really care if it's listed near that particular location. That's what's most important in your data. And LocateXT will do that. So this is a really powerful tool in really going through documents and fine-tuning and pulling out all the little pieces that you need. And it allows you to then take that information and use it in whatever other way you would like. And you can have as many custom attributes as you'd like. You can fine tune them. So let's say you go through and you realize, oh, maybe that keyword, I want a different keyword, or I want to add an additional keyword. You absolutely can. You can edit these. You can then save the custom attributes and the custom location files as a LocateXT gazetteer and a LocateXT custom attributes file. So for use later on. So if you want to send that to someone else who has documents, you can send your custom attributes file, your custom locations file, send that over. You can set custom locations as well, just like you can set custom attributes. So if you know that every time they see the word Fort Magoo or Point Magoo, that particular location is at this particular coordinate, you can set that as a custom location, which is really useful for when you don't necessarily have specific coordinates in the document itself. You don't have a latitude and a longitude, but you have a word or you have a particular place. You know, for example, the White House. If you want to, whenever the White House comes up, you want to have a point at the White House. You can set that within the custom locations. And it's the same process by which we do custom attributes. So previously this was a separate application, but at 2.4, all of this was folded in together. So it does work out pretty well.
Just want to take a quick break to see if there's any questions on custom attributes or custom locations.
Hey, Colby, while people are thinking about that, there was one question about the best place to get documentation. I put 2 links in there, one that was inside Pro for help, and then there's also the product pages. But if you've got anything to add to that, feel free.
No, please hit the product page. I've been working on it and I released it right before Christmas. So I'm excited that the new product page is out there, and then copious amounts of information under the Pro, like you said, under Pro's online documentation. The LocateXT documentation is actually very good. But if you have any questions, these slides will be available. And if not, you can just hit me up.
Hey, Colby, Andy's got a question here about, is LocateXT looking at a larger database of place names to reduce the need for custom locations?
So LocateXT comes with a gazetteer, and I don't know the version of it. It's exactly, but it's kind of a 2-part answer. So it'll do fuzzy search and fuzzy matching, right? But with regards to the size of the gazetteer, are you worried about performance, or are you worried about missing something? Because if you're worried about missing something, that's where the power of customizing your gazetteer or customizing locations and attributes really comes in. The fuzzy matching does work well. The gazetteer is relatively large. I would say the biggest source of inaccuracy is there's not always consistent formatting in all documents, right? So anybody knows that addresses all over the world can be in different formats. And I found that we're helping some people in Denmark, even within Denmark, all their addresses were uniquely formatted.
Hey, Colby, I've got a question, actually. I've got some stuff that I want to use with this tool, and some of it's in decimal degrees, some of it's in degrees, minutes, seconds, and some of it's in decimal minutes. They're not all in the same document, but how does it do for?
All should work. So for you, all should work. If there's a problem with decimal degrees, we may just need to look at the source content sometimes.
That's good news. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Colby, follow up from Andy. For example, U.S. military bases worldwide, not including the dark sites. Can you actually, is it included in the larger database?
I don't know about worldwide. I do know a number of them are. I appreciate not including the dark sites. Let me answer that. Let me find out that answer, because we may even actually have a gazetteer that we could support that with that doesn't come with LocateXT.
Awesome.
But absolutely. Moving on. Any more?
Yes, please.
LocateXT can extract addresses from documents based on a combination of the state and the zip code. And the combination of extracted text and pre-text is geocoded. So what that means is if you extract for the state and the zip code, you know the state, you know the zip code, you put that as a custom attribute and you want that extracted. What's going to happen is LocateXT automatically extracts the things before the attribute. It will take what it was able to record before, and it will take the extracted text that you specified, combine them, and geocode that, provided it's recognizable as an address. So this doesn't happen automatically if it's not something that is matched as an address. So that way you can gather addresses. This process is really dependent upon your data, but it is doable. And for this demo, what we're going to do is we're going to take a series of documents related to crimes in a particular part of California, and we want to see if there's a pattern. And we want to be able to get that answer as quickly as possible without having to manually move through documents and potentially spend time on information that is not as pertinent to kind of figuring out what our next steps might be. So today during this LocateXT demo, we're going to be taking a series of incident reports that we believe are related to the same individual to try and track down potential locations that these individuals might show up next. We have a series of incidents. We could go through them manually. However, as you can see, there's a specific location. There's other information in here that we might want or we might need. There is also several different text documents. So going through manually might take a bit longer than, actually will take a bit longer than if we just run it through LocateXT. And the way we can do that is what I'm going to show you today. So let's take a look at the extract locations pane. To get the extract locations open, you're just going to hit extract locations. This comes up. I have a template pre-made, but you can easily make a template. In this particular instance, we want the symbology to reflect that we're looking at incidents and crime. So I went ahead, I chose petty crime. I want to make sure that certain coordinates are being found. I've made sure to include that. It's going to look for all of these. I'm going to go ahead and decide what custom attributes I want very quickly. So if we look and see what the custom attributes are, they are just a series of fields that you get to create that LocateXT will look for. So it's names, places, there's keywords that allow you to capture words either before or after. And what it's going to do is add that information to the output that LocateXT creates. So we're going to get a series of points for each text file that has coordinates in them. If there's more than one coordinate, we're going to get more than 1 point. And we're going to get these fields that you see on the screen as part of the output feature class. I can fine tune this if I want to. I can edit my keywords. In this particular instance, I've reported by, I have it stop at a certain stop string. And what's this going to do? Well, this is going to give me, if I look at my data, it's going to give me this name. So I'm going to have for each of these, the name that's included right here, along with a point, and they're all going to be linked together. So let me show you what I mean. I have this here, I've turned it on. Let me go to extract. Now I don't have to add every individual file in by itself. I can do an entire folder pretty quickly by simply going to my incidents and dragging and dropping the folder. What's going to do is recursively go through each and every single text file to give me what I need. Once it's run, I can see a clear pattern to all of that data. Instead of going through each individual text document, I now have a series of points that give me a really quick, really easy to read pattern and map to my data that I can then use to create any number of other maps. I could put this in ArcGIS Online. I could share this with colleagues. In this particular instance, I could figure out, okay, what's the most likely road that's being used? I have my major roads here. Let's test it out. I go to my test incidents, say, I want to know within 5 miles, what's each road? Alrighty, I could either zoom in or I could do a select by location. In this particular instance, it all looks like it's almost the same road. This makes geoprocessing so much faster and easier, as opposed to consistently going through each individual text, trying to find each individual X and Y, putting it on the map, recording all the information, and then moving on to the next one. We have a much more quickly generated map that gives us an exact pattern and gives us information on exactly what we're looking for. It looks like Route 395. The pattern clearly shows northward direction. Let's take a look at what we were given. We have all the information we could ever want. Phone numbers, reporting officers, follow-ups, supervisor names if they're available. We have all kinds of information here that we can then use for further geoprocessing. To give us even more succinct maps, we could even use it to create widgets online. We can click on a point and identify it. We also have the exact document. And we have exactly where that file is, so we can find it immediately, if need be. We have all our dates, we have our coordinates, we have our incident descriptions. This is a very quick way to take large amounts of textual data and contextualize them in a geographic and visual format that prior took lots of back-end processing by hand. What this does is recursively goes through and looks for all that information for you. So you can get, at the end of the day, a really succinct and really quick map of information. You can start looking for patterns and hit the ground running, as opposed to waiting for human processing and potential human error in the data. So this is one of the many things that LocateXT is able to do. If I had custom locations, I could set those as well. Every time a certain word is seen, place a point here. In this particular instance, we have our crime data. We can see a clear pattern. And this is an easy way to inform law enforcement of what we're looking at and potential next steps.
So I would thank Ariel, but she's not online. But that is a fairly robust demo on LocateXT and using not only the data provided. These forms, we get a lot of different forms from municipalities such as law enforcement. LocateXT does a brilliant job, along with being able to create custom locations and custom feature classes. It does a great job of allowing you to essentially unpack the information in those forms, sort them, and then obviously bring them to a map.
Yes, and it's a lot of good comment on the chat. That's Lu Yang Ren say that this is innovative tools for data mining and processing. We have a few questions in here, Colby. Can we have some discussion?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real fast.
Yeah, it's okay. You can keep it if you like. T-strings Shawa say that, how can I create separate columns based on these different symbols, like comma, bracket, from the text?
I'm not sure. So you want to create separate columns in the attribute table?
Can I ask the question? Is it okay?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
So the issue is, I have been testing as I've said this, and I have been looking at the documentation and how I can build a custom template in order to separate different words by a comma, by a semicolon, by dash and bracket and all of those things. So that I don't see the easy way of separating them. And because of this, the everything is lumped them together, and it becomes very confusing.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
So the reason why I'm doing this is the test of, for example, we have a gazetteer, the foreign gazetteers that we may have it, we scan them, we convert them through OCR, and then we wanted to convert them into a sort of a database, right?
Mhm.
And so these process could be a very common process that could be done easily from the LocateXT. And I saw this as the tool that we could really use it and benefit. But when I'm trying to testing this one, I had a really rough time trying to separate them, and any documentation I looked through, I couldn't find anything which tells you exactly how to do all of those things.
So let's work. Let me walk through this real quick. So if you find a location, or LocateXT finds a location, and you've chosen an amount of text on either side of that location for it to capture, correct?
Right. There is a keyword option is there, but the keyword doesn't really separate them properly. And then it jumbles up everything. And so you really cannot separate them easily. But however, it's really powerful. It picks up a lot of location. And I couldn't really, I played with, I mean, I've spent hours trying to figure out, and I couldn't find a proper documentation which tells you, you do this and this will do that one. It
I got you.
doesn't, it's almost like a black box.
Okay, okay. I do understand your pain with the limit to what we can do with keywords and customizing keyword recognition. I would say,
and also for your information, I also tried to talk to the tech support. Nobody knows anything about this.
well, we'll solve that. We'll solve that. You'll get Ariel and myself on this one.
Sure, that's why I was so excited when you offered this. I said, okay, that's really good. I'm on a vacation, but I said, I'm going to take this.
Outstanding.
So,
okay,
yeah.
let's do this. Let's
Thank
do
you.
this.
Anyway, I just wanted to share, my excitement and frustration.
Well, we'll turn all your frustration into increased excitement. That's the goal here. If you can send me, or just, you're on vacation. So first and
I will
foremost,
send you, certainly. I have a document. I have been playing with a large database. I can send you a snippet of that data and
Beautiful.
see how you can actually separate them. That'll be really helpful for me to test it. And then once I understand the workflow, the process of how to do this one, I could actually teach other people.
Absolutely.
Right? There's a lot of documentations. I mean, a lot of documents there which could be really used using this tool to leverage a lot of stuff. But if you don't know how exactly it works, you really cannot tell people.
No.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
I will
agree completely.
I will certainly share with you. I have written down your name, Kobe. And
Yeah, let
if
me
it's
drop my
okay,
email in the chat
sure.
too as well.
And I can contact you directly and then tell you exactly the frustration that I have.
And
Thank you. Anyway, sure.
Maybe
Sure.
writing a blog for the community
Yeah.
once it's working.
Yes,
Yeah, once
that'll
you
be
work
really
through it.
helpful. Yes, that'll be really helpful.
Yeah, that's my excitement is I get the collateral of something I can easily write up as a blog post.
Sure, we can do that. And I can share you some the data that I'm playing with. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
I really appreciate it.
Brilliant.
Thanks for bringing it up. And I think we have a bunch of questions as well, right, Joseph?
Yep. You want me to ask one or two of these?
Yes,
Rena?
please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Andy is asking, Colby, does the tool have any kind of ranking for location matches like in geocoding to assist with data errors as it's crunching through?
No, LocateXT doesn't, and so you're gonna have to bear with me. Every now and then you're gonna ask questions that start to touch upon where we're headed with LocateXT, and it's not something that I can divulge just yet. But no, as it stands today, we don't do any sort of ranking around accuracy or sentiment, which would be interesting to do when you talk about like pulling social media data down. But in the future, adding these types of attributes is clearly a powerful way of understanding, the power of what I should say, how we should qualify these results is by adding either sentiment or accuracy to these results.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. Here's one more. I'll turn it back over to Rena after this. That template right in the video, right at the beginning, that template, do you have to have that template there? And if so, what kind of detail does that need to have? In other words, can you run it without a template? Just say, here's a document.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
So one thing that needs to be clear too is, you know, Ariel uses a form that she's getting from whatever, California Highway Patrol or what have you. Those forms are being OCR'd into the system. And one thing we need to be clear on is we are at the mercy of the OCR software that you're using on your particular machine. So whatever version that is, we have had people using outdated OCR, Adobe OCR software that's basically, it's, you know, LocateXT is at the mercy of reading what it gets in the code. So if we do come across one where it seems like this should be working, this is fairly straightforward, and perhaps, you know, things are being jumbled, a lot of times it's the version of the OCR software. That's why I always ask for, let me get a piece of your data, let me run it, let me make sure I'm getting the same results you are. If I'm not, then we need to look at the OCR software.
Thanks.
Okay, Colby, there's somebody asking about documentation for Getazir. I think you put it on the chat there. Is that the documentation for the?
Yeah, so that'll explain to you how to either create a custom gazetteer or import one. And then I actually have a video. So you stole the thunder. My next blog post will be a blog on just how to do this. So how to create a custom gazetteer. We have a bit more accuracy with place names in a gazetteer that we actually built for testing, and we're going to use that as a demo for this blog post. So be on the lookout for that. It should be out before, well, it has to be out before the end of April because then I run out of time.
And we're gonna also post some resources after this chat, right?
Yep.
We're gonna be included as well, and thank you for that. Another question: is there an attribute that indicate the accuracy of the location?
Right. So we talked on that a minute ago.
Okay.
Today we don't provide any sort of ranking or scoring of accuracy, but it's coming.
Okay. Part of the road ahead, I guess. All right. Do I miss any of the question, Joseph?
I think there was one about how large a batch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, you're right.
all right. So you're kind of at the mercy of your machine. I mean, I would love to say you can crunch through as many files as you can throw at it. I will tell you, in a previous life, I did point it at a 60 terabyte LUN full of Intel PowerPoints, and it chopped through all of those. Now I had to go on lunch break, but the software itself will work its way through a huge volume of files. Your machine may give out though.
Did you have a stripe that indicated how far it was?
No,
Okay.
at that point, I think the stripes give out too.
Okay.
I think you just listen to the sound of the fan on your computer, and that's your indicator.
Awesome.
That's impressive, though.
Well, even read the data from the PowerPoint, huh? Okay, Colby, do you still have the content to go through the video, or what is next?
Well, that's the end of the presentation.
Okay. Do you have the slide for the the resources, or are we gonna include it later on?
Can I include it later on? Let me. I want to make sure I have the most recent blog posts. I'm not sure that they're out there yet. I might include one or two of those.
And so, Colby, on a related note, so if people go to the Esri community, formerly known as GeoNet, they can search for your name and find your
so
posts?
Yes, LocateXT is out on GeoNet. Ariel has done a good job before I got to Esri, facilitating and fostering a lot of that content out there.
Yes, there's a good comment in here from Stacy here. It looks like the link that you give for Getazir is for ArcMap. Is that similar process for Arcgis Pro, or do you have another link?
Oh, it is for ArcMap. That's a busted link. It should be the same. but I'll need to double check that. That's a busted link.
Yeah. At the end of that links is actually there's some links that for related information for Arcgis Pro. I don't know if it's the same topic or not.
I'm sorry, will you ask me a question?
Now, I would just make a comment that at the end of that link, there is a related information that's pertaining for Arcgis Pro. Is that the same topic?
This is extract custom locations. I think somebody at the documentation level needs to update that page. It shouldn't have ArcMap in there at this point. I'm gonna make a note of that right now. But that's all leveraging LocateXT code. That code has not changed. So 99% certain that'll work in ArcMap the same way it works in ArcPro.
I see. Okay. Another question from Diana is when we can expect the NLP updates you were talking about?
So NLP is an interesting question for us at LocateXT. So it's absolutely something that's on our strategic roadmap. It is absolutely something that is necessary to grow LocateXT as a capability, both in the market, as we look at our competitors, and as we try to bridge LocateXT into existing and new capabilities in Pro and Enterprise. So I would look for NLP to be an extension available in LocateXT before the end of this year.
Sounds good. Is there any other road ahead that we can expect from LocateXT in near future, Colby?
Yeah, so let me touch upon, so we have a product that we're working on called Knowledge. And Knowledge is an entity extraction graph database storage solution that is a grander ecosystem, if you will, to the same workflows as LocateXT. So imagine, if you will, LocateXT not only extracts locations, it also extracts people names, event names, custom entity names. Right now, LocateXT is extracting that information from the documents as they sit in storage. As we move further, something like LocateXT would be extracting those entities, putting them in a graph database. And if you know anything about graph databases, you understand that that allows us to define the relationship between entities or between entities in a location. So now I can put in a document that has Colby, Joseph, and Rena, and I can define the relationship as colleagues. And I can have Colby's location, Fort Collins, Joseph's location, Westminster. Colby and Joseph both live in Colorado. The ability to define these relationships or characterize them and store them in a graph database unlocks an entire new world of link chart or link analysis visualizations that we're going to be bringing into Pro. So when I say there's a lot of exciting stuff going on with LocateXT, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on, and LocateXT is going to be part of it.
That is amazing. That reminds me of those questions on the GRE or the ACT exams where, you know, X, Y, and Z happens, and then after 3 paragraphs, it's noon on Tuesday. Who's in the room? That we probably all remember with, oh gosh, I remember those questions. But that is pretty amazing.
What is the expected date? Not date, maybe
Q3.
Quarter. Q3 this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Looking forward to. Other questions? Anybody want to type in or unmute if you like? So.
Stacy's got a question there, Rena. A couple up from the bottom.
Okay.
Oh, she wants to see the custom locations. Here, let me.
Thanks, Colby.
Yeah, it'll take too long for Pro to boot up on my machine with everything else I have open. So these are custom attributes.
While Colby is doing that, I think I'm gonna just, before everybody leave, I want to share one thing in here for the next one. Let me see here if I can
That's right here.
You got it?
Yeah, so she goes into custom attributes here, and she's showing how you can tag locations based on keywords. So you create a keyword, and then that keyword maps to a location. Stacey, I'd be happy to either send you a snippet of this video or send you a shorter video. Or send you this.
We actually had a question about the video. Can people, is that open? Can people see it?
Yes, so this video is taken from our Fed GIS. So
okay.
Let me find out where it's being shared at.
Thank you.
And Stacey, I sent you a link to the documentation where we talk about custom locations. I like all the very cools.
That's awesome, Andy. I love that. Or Dickens. I mean, there's just so much.
Awesome. Well,
I would love to see some. I'm sorry to cut you off, Rena.
Go ahead.
It should be no surprise to anybody that my background, DoD, Intel, 90% of what I have with LocateXT based on my customer feedback is this DoD Intel world. I would love to have more use cases and more collateral to draw from based on today's document or presentation. We have a lot of great ideas with LocateXT. We simply don't have time to exercise all of them. I'm dying to get more information out there to get people more interested in LocateXT and pull in on this customer feedback. So
right. You come to the right place. Yep.
Any sort of creative idea you have, if you need support, if it's not doing what you want it to do, but you think you've got a great idea, like just fire me an email.
Yeah, this is the some of the best educators in the world on these chats. So
brilliant.
Yeah, you've definitely come to the right community.
Yes, and a lot of the researcher, I think, using also unstructured data, that's going to help. But any of you also want to use this for teaching, let us know as well. That will be nice. Oh, talking about teaching, is there any lesson or learn lesson or from Esri Academy on using the LocateXT?
I don't believe we have anything out there right now.
Okay, that's one thing that we probably can help. Collaborate with that team to create some learning path on LocateXT. So that can help for adoption. Because I'm gonna share my screen real quick on the upcoming education chat in here. So just want to bring back our landing page. So if you can see it today, you can April chat, but I want to talk about the future chat. This one is April, which is May 4th. And this is the topic is a special one here. We bring the latest capability of ArcGIS Online. So ArcGIS Online, we're gonna have an update on April 13th. And one of the updates will bring a new capability, which is improved collaboration across organizations using a new partner collaboration capability. And the program manager, Santa Sivabalan, will talk about that. This is any of you that looking how to collaborate between ArcGIS Online to another ArcGIS Online within your campus or across the campus. This is make it tighter, this is make it easier. So with this, what we call it partner collaboration. So I hope you want to mark your calendar on this. If you're interested, we're gonna promote it and remind you as well. But this is the first time we're gonna show it to the education community. So just want to make sure.
Yeah, thanks, Rena. And as many of you know, this has come up in many webinars and other chats and sessions that we've all had together over the last year. So it's a hot topic for sure. Laura Bowden, our colleague, has got a mini course that she's sharing in the chat box there. So that's good to know. And then Rena's just shared our hub where we've got all the recordings and the upcoming chats. So, yep, excellent. Thank you both.
Yes, registration is open if you want to register, so it's mark your calendar on that. But I'm so exciting. This is probably even for Joseph and I's first time we're gonna see how in real demo how it works.